How do you think it makes little kids with stutters feel when they see you make a comment like that?
First and foremost, I had no idea that Joe Biden ever suffered from a stutter. I think what we see on stage with Joe Biden, Jake, is very clearly a cognitive decline.
Okay.
That's what I'm referring to. It makes me uncomfortable
You are
to
no
watch somebody on stage search for
that's so amazing.
questions
It's so amazing to me that
and try and figure out an answer.
A cognitive decline.
Well, when you're trying to tell me that what I was suggesting was
I think that you were mocking his stutter. Yeah, I think you were mocking his stutter, and I think you have absolutely no standing to diagnose somebody's cognitive decline. I would think that somebody in the Trump family would be more sensitive to people who do not have medical licenses.
You know what, folks? I'm old enough to remember when questioning President Biden's mental decline was taboo and off the table. Thank goodness for Laura Trump holding CNN's Jake Tapper accountable, while he said it was a conspiracy theory to say President Biden had a cognitive decline, even though it was right there in front of all of us.
But get this, meanwhile, Jake Tapper just announced his new book called Original Sin, President Biden's Decline, Its Cover-Up, and His Disastrous Choice to Run Again. Interesting timing, Jake.
Absolutely. So let's bring in our political panel to see what they have to say. We're joined today by Robin Byro. He's a Democratic strategist. And April Chapman. She's a Project 21 ambassador and the host of the Standard of Truth podcast. Welcome to First Edition.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning. So my head is spinning. Democrats and the establishment media for years covered up Biden's apparent mental decline, and finally now they're coming clean. I mean, April, what do you make of all this? And it's just the Jake Tapper clips are incredible.
That was my first time seeing that clip.
Okay.
The Democrats are the least self-aware. My mother suffers from cognitive decline, so I'm very familiar with the signs and the symptoms of it. Americans are tired of being gaslit. So many of us, despite the fact that I disagreed with the former president's politics, my compassion for him as the American commander-in-chief went out to him, and so many of us could see that he was declining. So for Democrats who gaslit us and told us Joe Biden is sharp, he is as sharp as he has ever been, for them now to all of a sudden, I guess it's safe for him to come out of the closet and admit that there is something cognitively wrong. I'm wondering, are we all going to expect an apology? Jake Tapper, this whole book, this is a grift.
Yes.
This is an opportunity for him to capitalize on the truth, which he could have very well did when he was in his role as a journalist, but to come out now and to admit what we all knew. One, it's elder abuse, because our president, despite his politics, we should have protected him. The people in his life should have protected him, and they didn't.
Absolutely. You know what, Robin? You know we keep it real on First Edition, right? So let's break this down. Over the last 4 years, it was like a UFC fight, right? In terms of the Dems attacking President Trump. But guess what? Jake Tapper tapped out. And
John,
now he's going in the opposite direction, trying to make money, as April just mentioned, from writing a book. But here's this quiet little secret that no one's talking about. It takes time to write a book. So he started writing this book well before the election. So I think he was poised to make money regardless of who won. That's a capitalist mindset. What say you, Robin?
John, you just nailed it. Books take months and months to prepare. Even if you have a ghostwriter, I'm working with one now, and it takes so long. So he knew exactly what he was doing. He was waging his bets, and April is right. It was really sad to me. Joe Biden had 50 years of public service. He's a good man. I've been around him plenty of times. But what we all saw, especially at the debate, was heartbreaking. And I hate that Jake Tapper is being an opportunist here and making money off of what we all bore witness to with the debate with Joe Biden.
It certainly is a grift. But turning to this, Democrats continue to stir up peddle lies, basically. Take a listen to Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett's meltdown yesterday.
We're pushing conspiracy theories, and some of them are killing people. It's the same thing that we have coming out of Doge. It's the reason that people are dying. It's the reason that farmers are losing their farms, because we continue to peddle conspiracy theories. It is time for us to say, Mr. President, guess what? Russia invaded Ukraine. Can we at least agree on that one? Facts matter.
Congresswoman, the only thing that Doge is killing is senseless fraud, waste, and abuse. The American people do not have a problem with that, April. But, of course, you know, Jasmine Crockett, she loves a good meltdown. Curious to get your perspective here.
Listen, these unhinged rants by Jasmine Crockett, this is the Democrat Party. What you are witnessing this is the smell of desperation. They are on to us. They've now uncovered the fact that we've been siphoning money from the American people. And so what we've got to do is say, no, don't look at that over here. What you need to do is look at all of these people over here dying. And many of us are like, who are all of these people dying? Where's this death? The death that we saw was when mainstream media actively suppressed pharmaceutical biologics that could help people during the pandemic, when our president was dropping truth bombs saying, hey, I've heard about this supplement that might be helpful, or they found much success with this drug over here. No one knows what Jasmine is talking about right here. But what we do see her do is, this is the smoke screen. We have to gaslight the American people, present alternative facts, never engage with the argument or what Doge is actually doing, because to do that, she'd have to admit that Doge is on to her and all of her Democrat colleagues who have been benefiting from this USAID money. The slush fund has come to an end. No one has answered how her net worth is as high as it is on her congresswoman's salary. We have questions.
Yeah, a lot of questions. You know, the thing is, her commentary needs to catch up with the weave and the nails and everything else. That's always on point. I have to give her that credit. But Robin, here's the situation. Many Democrats, I don't care, pick your color, pick your sexual orientation, whatever the case may be, Democrats are joining the right to say, you know what? Yeah, dig deeper. We want to know more. Why? Because many of them are struggling. This goes beyond who people sleep with, what your color is, what your gender is. People are hurting all across America, and they're tired of the wasteful spending, and congressional leaders like Jasmine Crockett doubling down, trying to push back and beat back transparency so that way they can continue business as usual. What say you, Robin?
She had a missed opportunity there. She mentioned farmers, but she didn't say to anybody what she was referring to. April just said herself, no one knows what she was talking about. She should have elaborated there and said that the Doge is in fact cutting subsidies. The Biden administration had a program where they loaned money so that farmers could buy very expensive farming equipment and pay it back over time. Doge has called all of those loans due now. So that is going to put farmers at a disadvantage. She could have explained that so that anyone knows what we're talking about and has empathy for farmers and does something about it. But when she just says, the farmers, they hurting, that's not good. It's not. We need better representation than that. And April is right. She's getting a salary of $174,000. She needs to do better than just being a disruptor, basically.
Right.
True.
Well, now this, a new report by the National Journal reveals that President Trump has taken over 1,000 questions from the press in his first month of office, 7 times more than Joe Biden. During Obama's first month, he took 161 questions, and during Joe Biden's first month, 141. So leave it to Trump to set a new record here, April. And also yesterday, he was just so adept at answering many of the press corps' questions in the room there with all of his cabinet. So it was impressive.
Absolutely. We finally have a president who is accessible. He is transparent, and he's actually demonstrating what it means to be a servant leader. If you've ever read Donald Trump's book, The Art of the Deal, this man is a master negotiator, and I really believe he exists to solve problems that the average person will look as a challenge. He rises to the occasion and he comes with solutions that just make sense. I'm talking like solutions that most people would sit back and say, why didn't I think of that? The way he manages to make all parties come to a table to agree. I love how he's in front of the media, answering questions, hand over fist, fully present. I disagree with the idea that Elon Musk is the second commander in chief. Elon Musk is an American patriot, not by birth, but by recognizing that this country is an amazing country. And he came here, he generated his wealth, and this is his way of giving back by saying, we want America to flourish for the next 50, 60, or 100 years. And if I can come in with my expertise, with the technology that I've been innovative in creating, and can figure out a way to cut waste and spending, that is my service to the American people. I'm so glad that we have Elon Musk and a president who answers questions not just from the mainstream media and legacy media, but he is opening up opportunities for other voices to actually get a firsthand account of what he is saying. And this is different than his last presidential run, where his voice was muffled and suppressed. We have unleashed the beast, and I am here for it.
Absolutely. Well, let's turn up the heat because this just in. It has been revealed that George Soros received $260 million from USAID. He didn't spend his own money to destroy the American justice system. Instead, he used hard-earned American taxpayer dollars. So, Robin, why don't we see Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett and others crying over this?
There is a serious problem with some of the fraud, waste, and abuse, and I wish that members of my party would do all of America a service and do something about it. Look, Bill Clinton, when he was in office, shrunk the federal government by 364,000 jobs. Harry Truman, a Democrat, almost 600,000 jobs. It's important that we cut back where needed, especially when the national deficit is $36.5 trillion. Everyone's fair share of that is $334,046 per taxpayer. That's nuts. So my party needs to do better about calling some of this out, John.
Mm-hmm. They sure do. But I also want to address the issue with George Soros and his use of the media, April. There's report that he purchased over 200 plus radio stations. And this is incredibly important because as we're seeing new media pop up, we're also seeing individuals, billionaires come out and really control the media in this way. Talk about the implications of this and why it's so important that we have to look into what he's doing.
I think it's important for us to look into what George Soros is doing is because he's effectively trying to destroy the country from within. He is using our money, our resources in order to hijack the narrative and to push policies that are overwhelmingly harmful. Individuals like George Soros, I call this like that dark money. These people are inherently evil. They have an agenda. They want to push ideologies that are un-American. They want to indoctrinate our children, to teach our children to hate this country. And more importantly than that, they are going full speed ahead by pushing a lot of this sexual perversion. And not only do they want to promote it here domestically, they want to export this ideology across the seas. And what we're finding is that our allies and our enemies alike are now looking at America and trying to figure out what is wrong with you people. Why are you overly obsessed with all of this ethnicity and abortion and sexual perversion? We're trying to get back. Other nations are trying to get back to conservative values, and America is the one that's gone off on the deep end. I appreciate what the Democrat strategist on the panel today has said, because the Democrats are missing an opportunity to tune in, reset, and listen to what the American people want. But unfortunately, you have individuals like George Soros, who, because they hold the purse strings, because it's the perverts, the Diddicrats that have the money, the normal, average, everyday American who does not want these things, they don't have a voice because it's the one who holds the purse strings that are really calling the shots. A lot of these lawmakers are just doing whatever it is the George Soroses of the world want done.
That's true. It always comes back to the people who are pulling the strings and the purse strings, even if it's not their purse. And we do know that it's Black History Month, so I'm going to take the liberty to quote Malcolm X. He said, "Black people have done so much for so long with so little, we are now qualified to do anything with nothing." And all we need in terms of the Black community is access to fair education. Just like we're fighting for free and fair trade, we should actually fight for free and fair access to education, where there's competition in education, not just one big bureaucratic public school system, but different options. So my question to you, Robin, do you think some individuals, whether or not the Department of Education is disbanded or reduced drastically, do you think the electorate on the left will eventually start embracing ideas that actually empower people?
This hits home. I have 2 school-age children, and I see inequalities in the school system. I can't afford to send my kids to private school, but my neighbors can. I live in an affluent community, but look, I'm a single dad, and I live paycheck to paycheck. But there are definitely inequalities, and that hits home along racial lines too. So I think, and it kills me because my friends, especially my very friends on the left, the most liberal, love to talk about all of this equality, but they're the ones sending their kids to private schools because they're worried about the demographics of our public schools here in Atlanta. So I'm tired of the doublespeak, John, and we've got to do better.
Definitely.
April, your thoughts?
I absolutely love Malcolm X's perspective here on education. And in fact, it sounds like what he's referring to is school choice before it was school choice. We need access to, as parents, to decide how to educate our children and to make educational choices for them that are best for them. And the Donald Trump's administration, this is one of the key points. He wants to open up. He looks at it like the free market. If public education was doing such a great job, we would not have an overwhelming majority of individuals in a lot of these inner cities that happen to be Black, illiterate, and unable to do basic math. So my thing is, yes, burn it all down. The Department of Education has had over 30 years of trying to demonstrate what it would look like if they were in charge. Let's give it back to the states. Let's open it up. Give parents their own tax dollars back to be able to spend and use how they want. Robin would be able to send his children to the school, private school, charter school, or he could invest in home education. Because at the end of the day, if our children are illiterate and they are unable to compete on the global world stage, we will lose as a nation. We will no longer hold the dominant position as the world's superpower. We'll be importing in geniuses from other countries because our children will not be prepared.
That is so true.
Open it up. We need school choice, and Malcolm X was absolutely right. If you give us access to education, we will flourish. He didn't believe in suppressing our intellect or making excuses, but rather saying that we are capable of doing what we need when given the space, freedom, and resources to thrive.
True. Robin, you had a quick comment?
Yeah, quick comment here. I just got notification from my child's school that it's a failing school. So yeah, we get school choice now that the school is failing. It shouldn't be doing, we shouldn't wait for that. We're failing our own children when something like that happens.
Absolutely. And I'll also quote MLK, let freedom ring. And I'll add, by getting the Democrats out the way.
There you go, Robin Byro, April Chapman, bringing the truth to us this morning. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Guys.
Have a good day.